Welcome to Picks with the Professor, a show usually hosted by a real statistics professor. Today, it's hosted by a real professor's cousin and their friend Jake. So
We do
Jake,
know one.
yeah, we do know one. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. We're back for the second week of the college basketball tournament. Obviously, the first weekend is one of the best weekends of the year. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on just how the first couple of rounds played out, because I know personally, I felt like, I'm always going to say this, but I felt like things were a little chalky. But at the same time, as I was filling out my bracket this year, y'all may have talked about this before, but it's like, I feel like this may be the strongest top, I don't know, 10 or 15 seeds that we've had in quite a few years. So a lot of chalk, but I can't say I was surprised by that. What were kind of your thoughts from the first two rounds of the tournament?
Yeah, it was a lame first couple days, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't have that Cinderella team like Florida Gulf Coast or Princeton or somebody like that coming through St. Peter's, like that
Yeah.
story to get behind.
Yeah.
But which makes for a lame first couple of days, but it guarantees you better basketball is the best way to look at this, right? So it wasn't that long ago that 2007 we had all one seeds make the Final Four. So it's not like, I mean, it's not likely that happens, but it's not been that long ago that we had a very chalky tournament, and that, you know what, they guaranteed us this is one of the best Sweet 16s I've ever seen, like all the matchup wise, which pretty much guarantees us an incredible Elite Eight and going forth, because you're just going to get better and better basketball. You don't have that team that got hot and won their conference tournament, then kept it going through the first couple of games, and then just dies out, and you end up with a couple blowouts or something like that. We finally did get some madness with Maryland. That was incredible.
It was
a lot of debate on the gather step, if that's an actual rule or not in college. But
and I have to say, I'm not surprised, I guess, because every time that I am watching any college basketball, it's brought up. But Dan Hurley, like, full on embracing the villain. And he's been doing that all season, I feel like, but really just doubling down. He's like, I'm not winning the national championship, so I'm going out with a bang. I think it's good for college basketball that there's just a guy that is so easy to dislike. But yeah, he just seems he can't help himself. And I am here for all the Dan Hurley stuff.
It also doesn't help that he was like, I don't know how right he was about the refs in the Baylor game, but it did not help with the free throw disparity that Duke and Baylor had in that next one. So he gets the confidence of being right and still looking like a jerk as he's leaving after getting beat. Shot 6 of like 20 from 3.
Yeah. He had some other issues there besides the free throw disparity in that one. It was. I thought it was as interesting of a weekend as it could be, knowing that the top seeds were as good as I think they are. To your point, I'm expecting some really good games. Just looking at this weekend, it's like I feel like, I don't know what Sideline's going to say, but so many games are going to be close to toss-ups because you've got some really good teams playing each other. So without further ado, we will get to our picks for the Sweet 16 here. So just a couple of reminders about Sideline. This is a player-based model. So if there were a big injury, let's just say like Juju Watkins in the NCAA women's tournament for USC, hate to see her go down, but Sideline would take something like that into consideration. And as we always like to say here, you're going to win 55% of the time, but that still means you're going to lose 9 out of 20 times. So we are playing the odds here for the most part. So ones that we feel strongly about, but I promise you at some point we will give out some winners some losers in addition to these winners. And any side is a good side at the right price. So with those things in mind, I would also say, if this is the kind of thing that you're into, please join us over on Dub Club. The honor roll package gets you access to all of these things that are listed here, only $30 a month. I promise just a couple plays, you're going to make up that $30 investment that you make, and everything after that is going to be nothing but gravy on the top for that. So and make sure to use the link in description for half off of your first month. So the first game that we're going to talk about here, Arizona at Duke. This will be around 9:30 or so Eastern on Thursday night in Newark, not New York or not Brooklyn or not any of the other seemingly endless arenas in that area. This is in New Jersey, in Newark. Arizona at Duke. Both of these teams obviously looking really good in the first couple of rounds. Duke, I mean, what did you expect? Cooper Flagg coming back and not looking like he's missing too much with that ankle injury that he suffered in the ACC tournament. So sideline here, I mean, two good teams. Duke obviously has been one of the best teams in the country all season. Sideline kind of sees what we see with our eyes. Duke is really, really good. Arizona, a good team, but definitely when you compare them to Duke, a step below them for sure. I think maybe the biggest disparity here, just the pace. Duke likes to play slower, but you can't really tell because they have the best offense in the country. And then Arizona, of course, likes to speed things up a little bit. So sideline says that Duke should be favored by 9 points here. Jake, what do you think about this one?
Look, I'm taking Duke and laying the 9.5. What it's sitting around right now with Duke. This Duke team is incredible. One of the best college basketball teams I've ever seen. Not even just talent-wise. I mean, size-wise. Everybody's 6'6" and above. There's no gaps. The reason they want to play slow is because that size gets in there, because that way they can set their defense and make passes that are incredibly hard to make. And like, they've already played Arizona once, played them at Arizona, won by 14. That was before I can't say his name, Kravis, big guy, gets hurt out for the year. That was also while Duke was still tinkering with lineups, right? Caleb Foster was starting there, not Sion James. So adding Sion James into the starting five was one of the best moves Shire did all year, because that really put him on a different level. It because Foster was struggling. He's coming along better. He's playing a lot better now. I think he needed that little extra time from the foot injury to get just adjusted to the game. But Sion James letting Proctor run wild. Like, this Duke team, if they keep playing like they are, with Flagg and Malawak and Knipple being the top 3 of the top 10 picks, and if Proctor keeps shooting like he's JJ Redick, it's going to be impossible to beat him. But Arizona does have the Duke killer who just absolutely ruined Coach K's final year with Caleb Love. Hits a monster shot there at the end of the Final Four game 2 or 3 years ago. But he's the reason that they can stay in this game, and he's also the reason that he'll be out of this game. In the game that Duke won, he went a whopping 1 of 9 from 3, 3 of 13 overall with 8 points. That's not going to win here, because he carried them against Oregon, because they went on that dumb stretch to start the game where they just didn't make any good decisions. You do that against Duke, who is a much, much better than Oregon team, you will absolutely bury yourself and not be able to come back. I kind of think that's what happens. There will be a stretch in this game, maybe not to open it, that Arizona can't make the right play. Might be 2 minutes, might be 3 minutes, might just be 1, but that'll be enough to put Duke well over the edge.
Yeah, it's funny. One thing I was going to bring up, and you kind of alluded to it as well, Coach K's last season, it's 3 years removed from the Coach K tenure now. And I definitely thought, no matter what you thought of Shire, you thought there was going to be a step down for Duke. And it's kind of scary that 3 years post Coach K, this is the Duke team that you're getting, because clearly they have not missed a step at all. I'm definitely, it's the NCAA tournament. Anything can happen, but I remember seeing the score of the Duke exhibition game, and I had to go look it up here to make sure I was getting it right. But Duke had an exhibition game against Arizona State, who Arizona State is, a completely respectable team. Like they're not great, but I mean they're a decent team. And Duke won that exhibition game by almost 60 points. And I remember from October, I was like, this Duke team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And they almost feel inevitable. You talked about how good they were, but they almost feel inevitable. I'm going to eat those words maybe as soon as Thursday when Arizona plays and Duke play here. But man, this Duke team has just seemed so good all year. I would be surprised if they lose this one. And if you do join us over on Dub Club, here is a quick example of the kind of information that you are going to get when you join. There is a brief write-up on every single game, offensive, comparisons, defensive comparisons, efficiency comparisons, everything that your heart could desire. So again, if this is the type of information you're looking for, besides us just going back and forth about the games, talking about them, this is the type of information that you can get over on Dub Club. So the second game that we're going to talk about is going to tip off at 7:30 on Friday. This one is in Indianapolis, and I have a feeling somebody on this show might be in attendance at this game. It's going to be Kentucky and Tennessee. Two SEC teams in this one. Jake, I'll be honest with you. I was, my own team being an SEC team as well, I was ready to play into the narrative that the SEC was going to underperform in the tournament. It seemed to be one of those things. It was, it was just handmade for the ESPNs and all of the big sports outlets to say, this is why they shouldn't have got 14 teams in. They were completely overrated. And I have to say, I was fairly impressed with the SEC's showing there in the first couple of rounds of the tournament. So we got two SEC teams here. I feel like, in my opinion, Tennessee's been the better team on the whole the entire season. That's reflected here by Sideline saying that Tennessee should be favored by 6.5. But I will acknowledge that I do have a bit of a blind spot with Kentucky. I can't tell you why. I can't put my finger on it. I've just been down a little bit on them the whole season. Maybe that's just partially because how tough the SEC is. I mean, if you don't come to play every single game, you're going to have issues in that conference. So I was never super high on Kentucky, but that may be a me problem. Jake, what are your thoughts here on this one?
I'm going to lay it with Tennessee, and I'm going to hate myself for it. Look, Kentucky, very good team. Pope, great coach. They beat Tennessee twice, home and away. Both time made about 50% of their threes, 12 and 11 in each one of them. Something that's absolutely burned Tennessee, and Tennessee has not been able to shoot for anything against them. Part of that is just the defense that Kentucky's playing, the pace they're playing. They get caught up and not running what they want to. Tennessee needs to run, and part of that is bad luck. I mean, the game at Kentucky, Chaz Lanier 0 from 7 from 3. The way he's shooting right now, if he can continue to remember that there's a second half of this game, then it is going. Tennessee is a very, very hard team to beat, and this might be a little homer ball, but it felt like Tennessee has absolutely dominated both these games without the scoreboard saying that, because their defense just strangles people. And then as Lanier gets hot and Ziegler plays, they are very, very good. Jackson Robinson was a big reason they won at Tennessee. He's not playing. But Lamont, bring in Lamont Butler who didn't play in that game. So I don't know. It feels like Tennessee's defense is playing at the same level it has all year, which has been elite, top 5, no matter what model stat you look at. And their offense is playing up to where it should be. You've got Lanier, who's playing well. Gainey is coming off the bench, absolutely killing it. Akpara and Phillips are both playing well. Igor is making all the right plays. I think that this time around the defense stands up, slows the Kentucky team down, and the offense just carries through. I think it'll be a very tight game. I think anything under 10 makes sense. I like laying the 4.5 here because I think at the end of the game, Tennessee's free throws and the fact that they can put 4 really guards on the floor that can make 75+% on the free throws with Gainey, Lanier, Meshack, and Ziegler. It makes it really tough at the end of the game for them not to cover this. I think we're getting tight. Tennessee has a lead. Some fouls go their way. Kentucky starts fouling, and we get to 5 to 7 point win.
So I have to ask, because we talked about it a little bit before we came on the show, and even Miss Cousin Jared, she will watch a part of a Tennessee game and see Rick Barnes and say, "Why do I know him? He looks so familiar." And I have to be like, "Look, we've been playing against Rick Barnes since he was the coach of Texas when we were back in the Big 12." Miss Cousin Jared and I actually met at a Texas A&M basketball game, and so yeah, so I mean, we share that interest in college basketball, college sports in general. But I have to ask you, what's your faith in Rick Barnes? Because I know some people would tell you this is the time of year where Rick Barnes is going to do his thing. So do you have any concern about that popping up? Either in this round or maybe the next round.
Yeah, my concern would be is it's all about Lanier, right? So the three best teams that are 3.5 best teams that Rick Barnes had. Right, the TJ Ford team that took him to the Final Four, the Grant Williams team that should have been in the Elite Eight. Maybe they beat Virginia, maybe they don't. Who knows? But should have at least been in the Elite Eight because stupid phantom foul call on Edwards in the corner let them tie that game up. Then last year, Dalton Knecht runs into Zach Edey.
Yeah,
those games against Purdue is wild. But he's got a guy he can go to in Lanier who is a bona fide scorer like Knecht was, like Grant Williams was, and like TJ Ford was. Like TJ Ford maybe not did it all with scoring, but having a point guard be your guy is great because that brings everybody else in. He's got a very good point guard in Ziegler. Lanier is a good scorer. So the formula for him to have very successful marches is there. But now Lanier is the least trustworthy of all those guys I just mentioned. So that's where it makes me really nervous. But I mean,
yeah,
you don't do it till you do it, right?
Yeah.
They must have got Mark Few and everybody else, and they finally got over the hump. This feels like maybe the time he gets it over the hump. Lord, I hope so. God.
Yeah, well, and I have to say, I feel like it's easy to superficially look at the records and see that, hey, Rick Barnes has had a lot of good teams, but, he's never been able to kind of get him over the hump. But I would say that you did a good job of assessing, hey, the really good Rick Barnes teams, even though the records may be similar, do have all of these different things in common. And I think you pointed out this Tennessee team probably has, whatever it is and those individual pieces they need, this Tennessee team has it. Because like I said, I tend to agree with you. I think Tennessee's going to win this game. But I've also been down on Kentucky. I will acknowledge that. So that is all of the plays that we have for this show. Again, if you're interested in supporting the show, there are multiple ways to do that. Follow the link in the show description. You'll get half off the full package for your first month. Or if you want the picks only package, as shown here on the screen, that's only $10 a month. You'll just get the picks, none of the other extra fluff for whether it's football, NHL, baseball, college basketball, top plays and A grades noted in there, and then limited Discord access. Discord is always great. No matter what package you sign up for, you will find a way to get value out of our Discord. So with that being said, Jake, do you have any final parting words for our audience?
Well, I think the SEC is going to prove how dominant they are. I really like almost any SEC team that's playing here because that's the top half of the conference. And I think we get to see a lot of SEC love in the Final Four and Elite Eight.
I have to say I was talking to a coworker and I was giving him my theory on how I thought the SEC may struggle, and if they do, how everybody's going to jump on them, how they shouldn't have got 14 teams in. But he told me, and he was right. He said, Jared, if they just get 2 teams to the Final Four, none of it matters. And I tend to agree with that. I think they're in a good spot to potentially get those 2 teams.
Definitely guaranteed 1 in the 8 with Tennessee and Kentucky. So
yeah, exactly. And so I think that if they do get the 2 teams to the Final Four, then they probably will be warranted in getting those 14 spots in the tournament. Well, thank you very much for your time today. As always, hope that everything goes well with all the plays you make. And remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.